Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's very special webinar, Discover the Austrian Tyrol in Summer. As we all know, the Austrian Tyrol is well known and a favourite destination for British travellers for skiing in the winter. But there is so much more to experience once the winter season is over. And with the weather getting hotter and a trend to reconnecting with nature, well-being and health, an alpine summer holiday in the Tyrolean Alps may just be the holiday experience your clients are looking for. So today we will gain some in-depth knowledge of the region, including which are the top resorts, the main attractions, as well as some hidden gems. Well, and who is going to share this information with us? Well, let's meet today's partners. First, let me introduce you to the travel trade and PR manager for Austrian Tourism, Magdalena Pence. Magdalena, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, Simon. Lovely to be here today with you on this very sunny day.
It is absolutely. I feel as though I feel as though I'm about to swear now, so I won't swear. But I went to Switzerland last summer, so but it was never as beautiful as it is now in South London. It is absolutely gorgeous.
Yes, perfect to talk about summer today, I would say.
Absolutely, yes. Our backdrop is going to encourage us. Yes. So thank you very much for joining us today. I'm delighted also to say that we have, and I may get this wrong, but I hope I'll get it somewhere right. We have Bianca Werthenreiner with us today, the Strategic Media and Planning and Travel Manager for the Tirol Tourist Board. Welcome to you, Bianca.
Hello, so good to be here. I've just realized that my camera is not working right now, so I might... Oh,
there you are.
Perfect. Oh. Here I am. Also with Tirol in the back, so that is perfect.
Isn't it glorious? No, it is absolutely glorious. I was thinking then that we weren't gonna have you and your background, but anyway, lovely. Thank you very much for joining us. So Magdalena and Bianca will be sharing their presentations with us shortly. And as we go along, if you have any questions, please use the Q&A function and we'll get through as many as we can after each presentation. There will be some competition questions too following the presentations. We have some Austria backpacks up for grabs filled with Tyrolean summer holiday essentials. We have picnic blankets, culinary treats, water bottles, more goodies. So you'll be able to post your answers as usual at the travelbulletin.co.uk/webinar competition once the webinar is over. The deadline to win today's prizes will be next Tuesday, the 6th of May at 4 p.m. So we're going to crack on with our first presentation from Magdalena. So if you are ready, Magdalena, please, by all means, share your screen and we'll get started and I'll see you in a bit.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Simon. All right, let me quickly get up my presentation. All right, there we go. I hope you can see.
This is all good.
Okay.
Oh, it was perfect. All good. No, it's gone now.
Oh, okay. That is interesting. Let me check. Apologies for that. Let's try again a second time.
That looks
there we
good.
Go. Excellent. Cool. Let me know in case anything changes again. But
okay, I'll leave.
Perfect. Thank you. Obviously, thank you so much again, Simon, for the lovely introduction. Obviously, Bianca and I are really excited that we can obviously show you today, put a bit more of a spotlight of what Tyrol has to offer during the warmer month. With almost 1.4 million overnight stays from British travellers in 2024, Tyrol is actually the most popular travel destination in Austria for British travellers, but almost 2/3 of those are actually during the winter month, obviously unsurprisingly for skiing. But there is really so much more to explore once obviously snow and winter is gone, and we really want to show you what you can experience, what you and your clients can experience sort of all year round in Tyrol. Maybe I'm going to start off with let's say some of the more basics for you. So Austria has 9 provinces. Tyrol is one of those 9 provinces, and you can see here on the map it's located in the western part of Austria. The capital city of Tyrol is Innsbruck. And obviously always really important to know is how does it look like with flight connectivity to Tyrol. So Austria has 6 airports. Tyrol has actually its own airport. So Innsbruck has its own airport, quite well known actually as a regional hub. And during May, so from the time between May and September, you actually have direct flight connections from London Gatwick with EasyJet multiple times a week. In addition, there are also connections from Manchester and Birmingham with TUI and Jet2. But obviously, as you can clearly see on the map here, there are lots of airports that are only just, you know, a short transfer time away. Most notable are, of course, Munich and Zurich, but also then Vienna in the east of the country, but also smaller airports, for example, like Bolzano, Verona, Salzburg, and so on, actually have very good connections from the UK and are actually, from there, it's easy to get to Tyrol. So it's always, you know, a good alternative, basically. And then what happens basically once your clients have arrived in Austria or Tyrol. So generally speaking, Austria isn't a very big country. So train connections within the country are actually very good. They're pretty reliable, very reliable actually in comparison to the UK, I would say. And even a lot of the Alpine villages in Tyrol actually have a train stop. So almost all of the resorts that Bianca is going to present to you later on, they all actually are on a major railway line. So obviously it's really easy to sort of get to your resort if, for example, you have clients that rather opt for public transport rather than a transfer. But it also means that obviously twin center stays are really easy to accommodate because distances aren't long and connectivity is very good. And then let's move on and actually have a look at what are some of the top reasons why your client should spend summer in Tyrol. So to start it off with, I would say comfortable temperatures. So Tyrol in the summer, I mean, offers sunshine and warmth. The typical temperatures vary somewhere between 20 and 30 degrees. Obviously, it depends on altitude. Obviously, if your clients are staying at a higher altitude resort, obviously it's going to be a bit cooler. And days are long. And you know, sunsets in the peak of summer are only about 9 p.m. So really nice long days. And obviously, if it gets too hot, there's always a mountain to, you know, head up to and cool off. And as you can also see there on the images, there are a lot of mountain lakes that are perfect to just take a quick dip. They're usually crystal clear drinking water quality. So perfect to just, you know, fresh up a little bit. And the second reason I would say is actually disconnect in nature. Tyrol really offers some of the most breathtaking and untouched nature you'll find. So from obviously the mountains to forests to lakes and plenty also of nature parks that have really interesting fauna and flora. So I think it just really provides an opportunity to just really get away. Your everyday life, your local high street, your annoying tube journey, your job suddenly will feel like a world away. And then obviously Tyrol is an outdoor playground. Let's be honest, there are, you know, the Tyrol's great outdoors. They really offer activities for all tastes and ability levels. So, you know, it doesn't really matter if your client is maybe looking for just gentle walks with maybe just a couple of stops in a mountain hut, or if you maybe have someone who's really looking for an action-packed summer adventure. I mean, Tyrol has definitely got you covered in terms of breadth of opportunities and activities. And then local food and drink. No holiday is really complete without tasting the local food and drink. And Tyrol really offers an excellent culinary scene, from, you know, ranging really from rustic mountain huts serving typical Tyrolean signature dishes to, but also really, you know, on the other end of this spectrum, sort of fine dining restaurants. And lastly, And I think this is really what actually sets Tyrol or Austria in general apart from other destinations, is really the hospitality of the local people. In Tyrol, 92% of all businesses are actually family run. And it obviously really creates, a familial atmosphere, should be like, hopefully, second home from home. And yeah, create some lovely experiences with the locals, with other travelers. And now let's have a quick look at sort of, who a summer holiday in Tyrol is really for. I would say it's really a destination for everyone. It of course really suits active travelers very well, because there really is an abundance of activities and landscapes to be explored. But I would also say it really is suitable for families, and also young people. There are not only a lot of family and kid-friendly resorts and hotels, but also plenty of attractions and activities are really for the whole family, making sure, that everyone is engaged and entertained, from the little ones up until obviously the parents or grandparents. And because Austria is a very safe country, it's also an ideal option for solo travelers who are maybe just looking either for their next, summer adventure, or if they just want to leave, the hustle and bustle of everyday life behind them and maybe just spend a few days in the mountains, or at a spa hotel. And there is one thing I actually would like to mention specifically, because I've always feel there's a bit of a preconception that a summer holiday in the mountain is only for really sporty people. But that really isn't the case. There are resorts and activities really for every fitness and difficulty levels. So your guests can really, adapt the holiday to their own needs and wishes. So you can really define your own pace. Cable cars, stroller-friendly walking path, e-bikes, just to name a few, obviously all mean that travelers can really customize their mountain experience to their own needs. That actually already brings me towards the end of my short general introduction to summer in Tyrol. And obviously before we obviously talk about any of the prize competition questions and I hand over to Bianca, there's just to say, obviously, if you want to learn more about Austria, please check out the links on this slide. It also includes my email address. So if you ever need any customized information, some tips, suggestions on hotels, resorts, whatever it may be, we're really always happy to help with customized information really tailored to your needs. All right, that was already me.
Well, that's wonderful, Magdalena. Thank you so much. Do unshare your screen if you can.
Yes.
That's great. I've got a couple of things for you. I'm going to add, you obviously don't think about this because you are so used to it, and it's second nature to you. But I want to tell anyone who hasn't been, it is the cleanest country I've ever been to. It is absolutely spotless. So, I've seen people out with little nail scissors cutting grass on the edge of the curb. That's not true. I'm making it up now. But
that is very much true.
But it is so clean, and it's such a delight to be somewhere where people care about, the look of their surroundings. So that's one thing.
Thank you so much, Simon. It sounds like you're a perfect ambassador for Austrian Tirol.
But no, it is gloriously clean, and I think it's something that if you are a native, then you take for granted almost. It's something you've grown up with or whatever.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So yeah, there's a couple of things I've had across on a sort of question front. So I'm gonna quickly jump into them.
Sure.
In terms of, Sandra Louise Lambert asks, in terms of hotels, I'm going to enlarge her question slightly, but what sort of cost range? Obviously, don't go for the higher end spa stuff because I mean, by all means, people can research those, but what's the sort of average hotel cost if you're looking at either a couple or a family? What could you expect to pay?
I mean, obviously, it really so obviously in terms or it depends a bit, obviously, in terms of the for example, number of stars or type of hotel you're going for. Obviously, there are a lot of B2Bs and sort of small establishments, obviously, with a sort of, quite an affordable price tag, I would say. Obviously, depending on where they are located in Tyrol as well, it varies a little bit. You can probably already find for a couple a room for €100. But obviously, then if you look into sort of 3-4 star sector, it depends obviously a little bit when during the summer, especially during the sort of maybe start of the season or end of the season, where it's obviously again a little cheaper, but you can find anything from starting already, let's say somewhere probably around €130 up to obviously then 250 for a double room, including breakfast at least, very often also including half board. So it's quite common that obviously half board is included. Those are obviously just really rough numbers. It may depend a bit, obviously, in terms of standard your clients want to go for, and obviously what you want to have included and when in the season it is. But I would say overall pretty affordable, also in term, in terms of in comparison to other regions, for example, during the summer.
Okay, I'm going to ask a tricky one now
Oh,
because no, it's not tricky. It's just that I'm going to ask you to compare what you've just told us in terms of the pricing, not with
mhm,
another country, don't worry, but
okay.
with the same properties during winter. So during the ski season, do they charge more, or is that average, or does it again? Is it? I'm only asking so
It
that people get an idea.
It varies, I would say, because obviously having in the winter, as a British travelers, many actually travel by tour operators who obviously then provide really excellent value. So I would say it obviously during the peak of really peak of winter, where availability of rooms is also quite tight at certain
Sure.
times. It may obviously be a bit more expensive. Having said that, if you book early, if you book via, for example, often tour operators in the summer as well. I mean, if you look, for example, just to name one, Ingham's, or also TUI, the Crystal Lakes and Mountains program, have multiple Tyrolean resorts in their program. That obviously then really means, with flights potentially already included and accommodation, make it, I would say, quite a good deal overall.
Yeah, it basically depends on the type of package because I know people like Ingham's do stuff
Absolutely.
in the summer, don't they? Where they'll do
Absolutely.
walking and what have you, where they'll package it up and they may add
Exactly.
you can add sort of 8 days or whatever it might be. So yes, it varies,
Exactly.
is what you're
You
saying.
may already have, for example, Ingham says, for example, there are some resorts where actually already guided hikes are included, for example, in
Yeah.
your package already as well. Yeah.
So I know in the past they used to do stuff with cycling as well. I know, do other operators do that as well, or
Absolutely. There are
right?
plenty of operators actually that focus more on cycling. Quite a lot that I would say are more on the self-guided section. I mean, some that come to mind. Obviously, having said that, it doesn't matter. Obviously, TUI and, for example, Ingham's, you can just also use it to cycle because obviously the program overall is quite free, so you can really adjust it to your own needs. But some that are maybe are more cycling specialists. I know that Headwater, for example, offers some cycling tours to Austria, the Natural Adventure, and a few others. So there are overall, in terms of operator packages, quite actually, there's quite a wide variety in the market in the UK. Yeah.
I've got a message which to be fair, he hasn't asked, but I'm amazed that Tom Parsley hasn't asked. Are there any wine tours available?
So, I mean, speaking on sort of Tyrol, Austria overall, absolutely. Austria is fantastic for wine tours. I mean, if you ever are looking for like a city break and a wine escape, actually Vienna is fantastic, and you wouldn't expect it. Having said that, only less than 80 kilometers away from Vienna, you have the Wachau region, which is absolutely well known for white wines. fantastic, stunning scenery. A lot of agents may actually still recognize it from river cruises. So, and you have other wine regions in Austria as well. For Tyrol, I would say the national drink of sorts is schnapps, so a bit more high.
I'm worried now that Bianca won't be joining us if she's partaking of her national drink.
Don't worry, I'm still here.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's great. Thank you ever so much. We've got a flavour, if you like, for what there is.
Exactly.
And it is, I think it is about that. It's about showing lots of different sides. There are other questions. I know that we've got some questions there about your favourite hotel. I know you're not allowed to promote individual properties, so I have not asked that, but do answer them. We'll send you questions. There's some sort of people have asked about multi-centre, two-centre, and also about anything in sort of that you would recommend in terms of the authenticity that you would promote. So
absolutely,
we'll move on from that for the time being.
Yeah.
But thank you, Magdalena, and thank you. And please tell us a little bit about what you're putting forward for the competition and what you'd like your questions, what they'll be on the website when people visit.
Yeah. Exactly. So obviously, as you've already mentioned at the really start, Bianca and I are giving away some Austria backpacks that are really filled with all the essentials that you may need for a perfect Tyrolean getaway. That ranges from a picnic blanket to a microfiber towel as well, perfect for hikes actually. We got some sweet treats, and because I just mentioned it also, there may even be a flask in there with some schnapps, so as a special treat in there as well. Yeah. And in terms of questions, from my side, there are sort of two questions. So the first competition question is, what percentage of Tyrolean businesses are family run? As the first one. And the second one is, name 2 reasons to spend summer in Tyrol. So both of them were covered during the presentation. And yeah, Simon, you've already given instructions anyway on where to find it on the website to fill it in.
I have to always remind people, Magdalena, because on occasion people get overexcited and put all their answers into the chat, and then all they're doing is very kindly donating their knowledge to others. But please do go after the webinar and visit our website, travelbulletin.co.uk/webinar competition, at which point you'll be able to enter. Thank you for the time being, Magdalena. I will now, if I may be joined. Welcome back, Bianca, from the Tirol Tourist Board.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
There you are. Right. Okay. I will. I'm going to ask you to share your screen, Bianca, and we'll get to it. And I'll leave my sound on very briefly for a second, just to check that you're happy, and then I'll disappear completely.
That sounds good. Please let me know if you're able to see my screen now.
We are all good.
Perfect. All right, then I'm good to start. So thank you so much for having me, and I'm so happy to talk to you today about Tyrol, the heart of the Alps, and well, also the place I was lucky enough to be born in. So let's dive right into it. I will not stay here on this one for too long, as Magdalena has already told us everything about how to get there and location and everything perfectly. But I do want to go into why do we call it the heart of the Alps? And that is because we are located in the heart of Europe, with Germany bordering in the north, Italy bordering in the south. And that makes it just incredibly easy to reach, and also maybe to connect with some other holiday destinations. And now on our next step in the customer journey, Magdalena has already talked about this one as well. How do your clients get to the holiday destination then from the airport? And of course, there's obviously loads of possibilities for public transport, which we've heard is really great here. However, we also do have a strategic partnership with 4 Seasons Travel, which is an airport transfer offering services from Munich, Zurich, Salzburg, Vienna, and Memmingen Airport. and that should just make it even easier for the guests to reach their final destination. And then also, how do you get around once you are in Tyrol in your destination itself? As Tyrol is just so small and everything really is close, this is something unique. So the short distances and the mobility in Tyrol is super easy. You will reach any attraction, any village, and well, even the starting point of your hike really with a bus journey, which is great. And therefore also the most villages or regions offer guest cards, which include a bundle of services, but most importantly, public transport. And usually you even get it for free when you are staying at a hotel or just for a very small fee. Now, we've already heard from Magdalena that there are 34 regions in Tyrol. For today, however, we've picked 5 regions that we want to give you a bit more information about. And yeah, let me start off by saying that in every single one of those 34 regions, you will be able to find all the opportunities for everything Magdalena has talked about. However, there's just a few regions that do offer some highlights and that are particularly interesting for UK travellers, which is why we are sharing today St. Anton am Arlberg, Paznau and Ischgl, Innsbruck, Zillertal and St. Johann in Tirol. Now let's start off with St. Anton am Arlberg, located in the very west of Tyrol. Here you have 2 really close airport connections with Innsbruck of just an hour journey, and then also Zurich, maybe a bit surprising, it's a 2-hour journey. However, in summer, obviously, there are just a few more flights, so you'll have a bit more flexibility, and yeah, a few clients might want to opt for that one. And I really want to say about St. Anton, it is one region that has so much diversity. In my opinion, it's a region that shows what is so special about Tyrol and yeah, what really makes the difference. And that is that you can integrate nature and the mountain landscape into your daily life. You'll really have possibilities for any type of activity. There's 400 kilometers of hiking infrastructure, including long distance hiking like the Arlberg Trail or the Eagle Walk. Maybe some of you have heard of that one. It's our longest long distance hike. And then obviously also 220 kilometers of e-mountain biking paths. So you get the idea. It's definitely a region for active travelers. And the best thing about it, there is no building complexes around. You'll only have fresh air, a beautiful view, which, by the way, if you look at top right corner, it's best to enjoy from their viewing platform, the Beluga, which is more than 2,800 meters up, so lofty heights. Now, our next region is actually not too far away from Arlberg. It's Paznau and Ischgl. Again, here the 2 connections with Innsbruck and Zurich are really well connected. And yes, I know Ischgl is very well known as a skiing hub in winter. However, I really wanted to take this one into this presentation as well and to mention how great it is for summer. And something to mention here right at the start is the incredible food scene that you've already heard a little bit about from Magdalena. So whether that's traditional mountain huts with traditional Austrian food, hearty food, or really those gourmet restaurants. In Ischgl, you'll find some of Tyrol's highest rated restaurants, so definitely something for foodies. But besides the foodies, definitely also a region for our active travelers out there. Again, Ischgl is one of those regions that is just always on top of innovation and development. And that results in an incredible variety of outdoor activities and experiences. For example, just this year now, they've lots of new climbing routes in Galtur. The trail running offer in Paznau includes 31 trail running routes, and they're now also lots of their mountain bike trails are now part of the Gravity card, which allows guests to access the top 30 mountain bike destinations across 7 European countries. So that is really something special. And now I'm coming to Innsbruck, located in the heart of Tyrol, and well, with an airport directly in Innsbruck, it's a no-brainer. Obviously, you're going to take that one. And after that, it is just a 15-minute bus journey into the city centre. I mean, that is incredible, isn't it? Well, from this region, I even have a short clip that I would like to show you for inspiration before I go into it then. All right. Well, as you've now already seen, the unique thing about Innsbruck is definitely the alpine urban lifestyle. That is something I don't think you will get anywhere else. One moment you'll be strolling through the streets full of imperial elegance and architecture, history, and then the next moment you will enjoy outdoor activities of any kind. The cable car that starts right from the city centre takes you up to 2,000 meters in just 20 minutes. And from there, you have all the possibilities. Want to go for hikes, try out a via ferrata, or rather just drink a coffee and enjoy the view. I mean, Innsbruck also knows what their clients or the guests want, so they offer things like a picnic at the North Chain, which is the local mountain range. Just book it in advance, take the picnic from the city and then take it up there. And then on the opposite side, you'll have a few more softer hiking trails or also downhill trails for those adrenaline seekers. And then in the city, as it is a student city, there's really a super vibrant vibe and there's always something going on. So if you're done with sightseeing, you'll still have plenty of concerts, festivals, all of that to check out. So it's definitely a city or a region for people looking for the mix of activity and also everything that a city will provide you. Now, our next region is the Zillertal, which is located a bit more in the east. And also here you have Innsbruck with an hour journey away, and actually now Salzburg airport, which is 2 hours from the east side. So also pretty close and easy to reach. Again, I would like to show you a short video of the Zillertal.
A magnificent side valley sweeps from the inn southwards. Over 40 kilometers along the Ziller, from Fügen, Zell and Meyerhofen to the Schlegeis Reservoir. Hochweiler, Olperer, Riffler, surrounded by more than 73,000 meter peaks, this valley is a hotspot for all winter activities. It also offers skiers, mountaineers, climbers, and nature lovers a spectacular arena from spring to autumn. It is hardly surprising that this part of Austria has produced a multitude of impressive names and legends in sport and alpinism. First ascent mountaineers, Olympic champions, world champions, winners of the will over the body. Their home, Zillertal.
I believe the video showed you the incredible nature and landscape that the Zillertal has to offer, and also how prominent the mountains are in the locals' lives. And we've heard that before, and that is so important to know about Tyrol. Guests will really experience, well, people loving the nature and just a place where they are from. And that is also why clients coming to Tillottal will experience this really strong sense of connection to the nature, but also that connection between the people. And well, for me, that is something that really speaks for Tyrol and is just so special about it. But something the video did not quite show is how great the Tillottal is for families too. On one hand, you have the culture, so customs and traditions are still so present in the Tillottal, also in other regions, but especially here. And it's so interesting for adults and kids alike. Something, for example, that you definitely shouldn't miss is the Alpine Cattle Drive in September. You can see that on the top right corner. It's when the farmers take their cows back from the mountain to the village. Usually they're then decorated and wearing very pretty flowers, so something really special. And yes, you do have all the outdoor possibilities, but especially for families, I would recommend this region. The infrastructure in the Tillottal is incredible. You'll have 10 summer cable cars that take you up to the mountain, where then you'll find 50 adventure parks for kids, theme parks, playgrounds with water, so all of that. And on the days when it's really hot, you can actually check out the Nature Ice Palace at Hintertux Glacier, which is, well, I would say a unique natural jewel. So something where you can, an ice cave where you can see sparkling ice crystals, frozen waterfalls, and the best thing, you can actually visit that all year round. And now our last region for today is St. Johann in Tyrol, which is located in the very eastern part of Tyrol. So, and also from here, getting there is very easy. Innsbruck and Salzburg, both an hour and a half away. So definitely a good starting point for your holiday. And before I tell you everything about it, let's watch one more video. I'm sorry for this one, we have to watch one short ad. There we go. So, as you've seen, in St. Johann, you will discover a bit of a softer landscape than in the other regions, which again makes it perfect for either families or travelers just looking for a more calm and slower sort of traveling. However, calm and slow does not mean that St. Johann in Tyrol doesn't offer just as much as all the other regions you've heard of today. Especially outdoor activities with sustainability in mind play a big role in St. Johann. Big enough so they even won the title of Best Tourism Village by the UN Tourism in 2024, which highlights outstanding sustainability initiatives. And well, this focus can be seen in many different aspects. For example, golfing. Golfing is a great way to experience nature in a soft way, playing golf with a stunning scenery in the background. And with the Golf in Tirol card, actually, which includes lots of different golf clubs in Tirol, we have created an offer for guests to play anywhere in those clubs that are included, which, to be fair, are most golf clubs in Tirol. Another great way to experience nature in a soft way are culinary hikes. And now maybe to come back to what Simon has asked before about the wine, this will be interesting. There's a culinary hike to the Angeralm in Sankt Johann, which is a rather easy, short, but a beautiful hike, where the host will already wait for you with incredible food and also a wine cellar in this case. Of more than 600 wines, so they definitely know their wine. And well, yeah, to top it off, the medieval village Sankt Jan is a must-see itself. They will, with those chocolate box vibe houses, and they'll find local markets with seasonal and regional food, lots of traditional festivals during summer. So Sankt Johann will be an amazing choice for travelers looking for all the outdoor possibilities in a calm surrounding. And now, with that being said, I'm actually done with my part of the presentation. Here you can find all my details. Also, of course, please feel free to reach out to me afterwards, ask any questions that we haven't covered today. On our B2B website, you can also find a DMC platform if that is important to you, where you can filter all of that. And obviously now we still have a bit of time to chat and ask more questions or answer more questions.
Wonderful. Thank you, Bianca. That was fantastic. Lots of knowledge there. Always good to hear about the wine as well. So yes, thank you for that. I've got questions coming in. A couple of which I think were right at the end of Magdalena's presentation. So I think it's good because I'm sure it is just as applicable to you in terms of what you offer. So I've got Kate Halden asks, in terms of properties, are there lots of properties, I'm assuming there are, that offer sort of family style accommodation, whether they be in apartments or whether they be in interconnecting rooms or sort of suites with 2 bedrooms, in that sort of thing?
Yes, 100%. As Magdalena has already said, most businesses here are family run, and somehow that also comes with knowing what families need, and they just know how to adjust to that. And also a bit with the history of Tyrol, actually it all started with more like apartment vibe, like hotels. So it's still, most families are just still renting out apartments themselves. So there's definitely lots of opportunities for more people to stay in one area, and that will be an easy thing to find.
This is a question that I was actually going to ask because I have experience of it a little bit myself. And so I was going to ask, from a hotel point of view, one of the sort of, I know this sounds a terrible thing to say, but it's one of the big pluses for me. The breakfasts are just fantastic. They are absolutely gorgeous. There's so many ways. I mean, breakfasts are good in anywhere because it's my favorite meal, but there's lots of the choices of cereals and eggs and lots of different ways you do things. It's very much lots of places offer sort of half board opportunities where you can do that and then maybe an evening meal or whatever.
As Magdalena has already said, actually most places offer both. So you'll have the option to not have anything at all, but then breakfast obviously everywhere, but also half board is very common to be offered. And yes, as you said, breakfast is so important also somehow for just our culture. It is a big thing, it is very celebrated. So that will definitely always be there. And then even there's offers where you can just pack up some food for your day when you go on your hike or something, have a sandwich with you and come back to enjoy dinner in the hotel.
I've got a couple of people who will send you their details anyway. Annabelle's asking for mountain bike routes, and Kevin Thatcher asks, this may be a sort of odd, well, not odd, but we get it here in the summer, and the altitude I'm sure may affect it in some way. But what's it like And are there different times of year when you get lots of insects? And because I know Scotland, for instance, is or can be particularly sort of bad in September time. I don't know whether there's anything like that for you.
No, exactly as you said, the altitude plays a big role there. So it really depends on the areas. It's funny, sometimes you'll find out there's some peaks where you know, okay, that peak really, there's going to be a lot of bugs that type. Usually though, talking about Tyrol in general, we don't have a problem with that at all. So we don't really suffer with bugs in general. There is going to be some areas, but not it's still not as hot most of the time. So I would say if you compare it to other regions, we're definitely still pretty good in that sense.
Okay, last question. Rachel Wilcox asked, in terms of moving about, I'm just going to expand on her question a little bit. Is it easy? I know that Magdalena went on, spoke about the trains and what have you. Within Tyrol itself, are there opportunities, not just with trains, but for other, I've seen sort of buses, things like that. Is that easy to get around with?
Yes, definitely. There is loads of buses, local buses, and yeah, to pick that one up again, the guest cards are really a big thing. Nearly every region offers a guest card. So if you are a traveler, a guest staying in a region, in a hotel, you check in, you will receive a guest card, which is also your public transport card, so you will not have to pay for any public transport, and you can use all the buses anywhere basically. And yeah, also most of the things you can reach by bus, and if not, then that is only going to be on top of a mountain where a bus shouldn't be anyway.
Okay, no, well, but that's a huge thing, isn't it? Because if people fly into Innsbruck and they're staying somewhere,
Yes,
then if there's a family, travel itself within a region, regardless of where it is almost, is a huge expense. So if that's
exactly.
something that is part of your tourism proposal and people get that as part and parcel of it, then that's a massive plus point.
Definitely. It is something that really the regions have discovered. Everyone loves it, so most of them will offer that. Yeah.
Okay, right. Well, thank you very much indeed. I would like you now, if you may, to appraise us once more of your competition prize and then the question.
Yes. Well, as Magdalena has already said, it's going to be a backpack filled with all the Austrian or actually Tyrolean delights that you need. Massively important, the schnapps here. And well, we do have one more question, which is, what name or phrase is Tyrol also known by? So
Okay.
good luck to everyone.
Absolutely. So don't forget, if you're watching this live or if you're watching it on demand, make sure you enter the competition before Tuesday, the 6th of May, and you could be one of those 3 lucky winners. So thank you, everyone. Magdalena, please join us once more. We've come to the end of our webinar to promote the Austrian Tyrol. Thank you for all the agents who've joined us. We've had some fantastic comments, some amazing questions, and some really good interaction. So I'd like to say thank you, because it helps everyone on this end of the screen if people are interacting. Thank you, Rich. We appreciate you interacting. No, we do. Doesn't it make it better for everyone if we get interaction, and it does help. So thank you all for being involved in that, and hopefully you've given our wonderful agents some amazing confidence to talk to their clients about an active holiday and a holiday with nature. As always, if you need a recap on any of this training, you will be able to watch it via the recorded version from tomorrow morning on our website, on our Facebook page, and via YouTube. Finally, I want to thank everyone for tuning in, and our special thanks go to Magdalena and Bianca. If you are both able to look as stupid as me and give us a wave, then we'll say goodbye to everyone. Thank you very much indeed.